They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want to.
And for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Welcome to Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I'm your host, Hawa Garba. According to the World Youth Report on the United Nations Department for Economic and Social Affairs, there are 1.2 billion young people aged 15 to 24 years, accounting for 16% of the global population. Therefore, the active engagement of youths in developmental efforts is central to achieving a stable society, as well as averting the world's threats and challenges to sustainable development. Today on our program, we look at the importance of youth involvement in the fight against corruption and how ICPC has been able to tap into this critical demographic resource in its anti-corruption campaign. We shall also bring you ethics and values, drama and many more. But first, Ruth Awodi is standing by with anti-corruption stories.
Welcome to this segment on anti-corruption stories. I am Ruth Awodi. ICPC has recorded another successful prosecution in its relentless pursuit to rid Nigeria of visa racketeers. The commission secured a conviction for one Adedeji Ayobami at a Lagos State High Court sitting in Ikeja for attempting to procure a United States of America visa with forged documents. Ayobami was charged before Honorable Justice Mojisola Dada of the Special Offences Court by ICPC on an 11-count charge bordering on procuring fake documents to mislead a constituted authority. The convict and one Mr. Akin, who is now at large, both conspired to forge documents to wit, a Nigeria international passport with the convict's name containing a United Kingdom visa, knowing the documents to be false, with the intent that the United States of America consulate in Nigeria will act on it as genuine to procure a U.S. visa for him. The commission, acting on a report that Ayobami had presented false and misleading documents, arrested him at the premises of the U.S. consulate in Victoria Island, Lagos. Counsel to the defendant, Mr. Taufik Jimo, approached the commission through a letter proposing a plea bargain after he had pleaded guilty on all the counts. The trial judge convicted and sentenced him to a fine of 300,000 naira and community service of clearing bricks in the court premises under the supervision of the court registrar, while failure to comply would lead to imprisonment for 3 years. The convict must also submit a bond of 1 million naira to be of good character to the court, while a breach of it would amount to a forfeiture. In another development, the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, PACAC, has urged ICPC to focus on public service auditing in order to reduce cost of governance and improve efficiency. The call was made by the Executive Secretary of PACAC, Professor Sadiq Issa Rada, during a courtesy visit by members of the committee to the chairman and board members of ICPC at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. Professor Rada noted that it was important that the Commission paid attention particularly to the problem of ghost workers, certificate forgery among workers, cost of governance and lifestyle, as these impinged significantly on the performance of the public service.
In Nigeria, and I know this is under the law of the establishing the ICPC, the issue relating to lifestyle audit. Clearly, people in this country, when assuming office, are living beyond their means. Therefore, it's the duty of the ICPC to actually cast its net very wide and see how something can be done to audit our lifestyles. Number two is the issue of ghost workers. I don't know if that is under the law, but I think still we have a huge problem regarding ghost workers. And the earlier something is done regarding ghost workers, the better. I also feel the issue of certificate forgery in this country should be addressed. People will think it's marginal, but for the benefit of those who have grown up in this country, let's see how Nigerians can be put on the spot to defend their certificates. Many people are obtaining certificates they cannot really explain. Then the issue of cost of governance, like you are aware, because of huge cost of governance, little money is left for capital project. So among many other issues, I think you should address this one. And I know ICPC is very versatile in the issue of corruption risk assessment. That one should be separate so that it becomes a very major asset in all MDAs in Nigeria.
In an earlier statement, the PACAC chairman, Professor Issei Sage, who led the team of visitors, said the appointment of Professor Bolaji Owasaonye as chairman of ICPC was an advantage to the commission.
We've worked with him for about 4 years. He's a man of clear vision, a very knowledgeable person, very highly organized, and was the engine room of PACAC when he was there. I know he will have the willpower to enforce the laws and go after the looters in society.
In his remarks at the occasion, the ICPC chairman, who was formerly Executive Secretary PACAC, expressed delight in receiving the team. He told the team that although he had left PACAC, he believed that the opportunity to work together would continue.
I'm very delighted to have these visitations. I'm a member of, so I do not take it with too much formality. I'm a member of the team, as you have rightly said, and it was a very good relationship, which I know will continue exactly the way that it was because of the atmosphere that we worked with since 2015. PACAC offered me a platform for anti-corruption intervention, and within the constraints of not being an implementing body, tried as much as Mr. Chairman, Professor Sage had said, we tried as much to impact the anti-corruption arena as best as we could.
A member of PACAC, Professor Femi Odekunle, who also spoke at the event, said that having the ICPC chairman at the helm of affairs was a blessing to the commission and the nation, noting that members of PACAC were soulmates in the pursuit of integrity and the fight against corruption in Nigeria. One of ICPC's board members at the occasion, Honorable Mrs. Olubukola Balogun, expressed gratitude to PACAC for the visit. She promised that the board members would work together as a team to turn the country around for the better with the cooperation and support of PACAC. That would be all on this segment. Corruption Must Go continues with Hawa. Stay with us.
not in my country.
Yes?
Good day, sir.
Good day.
Sir, I'm here in line with my score in the last final exams.
What about your score?
You gave me 25%, sir.
Oh! You scored 25%.
Sir, you didn't add my continuous assessment. If you did,
I told you that! During rain semester, you failed. It means you have one extra year to go.
Oh, sir, please, I beg you in the name of God. I can't afford to have an extra year.
Why are you begging it?
Please, sir, my mother is depending on my graduation, so I can cater for my younger ones.
But you
Please,
failed.
Let's just meet somewhere. Continuous assessment. I'll give it to you. I'll give you continuous assessment. Everything. Just
Stop! This is corruption, not in my country!
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
If you are just tuning in, this is Corruption Must Go. The scourge of corruption takes its toll on all segments of the population, sparing none, including the youth. It is indisputable that their being the most active demographic group places them in a prime position to make a great impact in the anti-corruption efforts. We spoke to Honorable Hannatu Muhammad, a member representing the youths on the Commission's board.
Thank you, Ma, for joining us on Corruption Must Go.
Thank you for having me.
Today we're looking at youth and anti-corruption. So, Ma, in your opinion, why are the youth central to the fight against corruption?
First, the Nigerian government must be commended for actually taking the initiative of including the youth in the fight against corruption by making provision for a youth not below the age of 21 or above the age of 30 at the time of appointment on the ICPC board. This clearly stated under Section 3F in the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Acts of 2000. Invariably, my appointment as a member of the ICPC board is not just government's implementation of the provision of the act, but an expression of its seriousness of getting Nigerian youth involved in the fight against corruption. Also, the president recently challenged Nigerian youth to own the fight against corruption. As you are well aware, during the 2018 African Youth Congress Against Corruption held here in Abuja last December, President Muhammadu Buhari challenged not just Nigerian youth but African youth in general to champion the fight against corruption in the continent. This is an affirmation that indeed the youth have a critical role to play in the fight against corruption in the continent, and government has provided a platform to do so.
Thank you so much for that response. Now, as a member representing the youth on the ICPC board, how do you think the Commission's message of anti-corruption can be made to reach them more effectively?
To be honest, every adult involved in any form of corrupt act or otherwise today was once a youth. So, if they probably had adequate information, education, and communication materials, the result would turn out to be quite different from what we have now. And remember, critical communication, like the type we have to do on and against corruption, is abrupt unless there is expected feedback or adequate response. So I suggest we re-explore the information, education, and communication material, or the methods that we use rather, in reaching to the youth. Roll up banners at the ICPC, NYSC engagement must factor in pictures, slogans, everything that can effectively mobilize them. We are looking at tailoring the Commission's engagement to effectively bring along youth aboard the ICPC ship. Overall, I am suggesting that the content of the Commission's anti-corruption message should be redesigned to not just focus on youth-tailored activities, but should equally factor in plans to sustaining the involvement with an open mind to tilt those strategies in alignment with the pulse of the youth from time to time.
Thank you so very much for your time, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back. You are still watching Corruption Must Go. In view of the fundamental role youths play in the society, ICPC over the years has initiated a lot of programs aimed at enlisting their support in the fight against corruption, while instilling in them a culture of probity and accountability.
Hello and welcome to this segment. I'm your host Malin Chong Singh. If you say that social media provide a quick yet cheap means of communication, enables us to reach a large audience, and can also be used to provide transparency. The use of social media to fight corruption raises some important questions on how these platforms can be used most effectively. Today we'll be talking about how youths can use social media to fight corruption. To better understand this topic, I have my friends here with me, Mr. Anya Peter.
Thank you for having me.
And Miss Hope Daniels.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to start with Mr. Peter. So Mr. Peter, can you enlighten us on what social media is all about?
Thank you. Social media refers to an interactive and Web 2.0 based application that facilitates user-generated content such as texts, videos, voices, and other forms of expressions in a virtual network within a given network.
That's an excellent answer. So Miss Daniels, in your own opinion, how has social media influenced the youths?
Well, the influence is both positive and negative, seeing that we the youth are the most leading and fanatic of social platforms. To an extent, you find us engaging on social media while in class or at our various religious centers. That's to show you how addictive social media can be. And the positive influence is that it gets to connect us to a wider range of people, and you don't know who you're connecting with. An opportunity may be lying there. A lot of youth have gotten employment and even capital to start up businesses via social media through the people they get to connect with. It's also very informative. I am here in Nigeria, but I know what is happening in Japan or America because it's just a tap away from my phone.
Oh, you made mention that the youth are heavy users of these social media platforms.
True.
So how can these youths use the social media to campaign against corruption?
Well, we can campaign against corruption through the social media by promoting values such as honesty, integrity, social justice, and other core values, by collaborating with already existing social media pages that have huge and constant followership. An example is the comedy and skit page. When I go on social media, for example, aside responding to messages in my DMs, I want to laugh, and my friends tag me also on posts to laugh. So even though we are not necessarily following those pages, we know what they post about because we go there to laugh. And fashion pages, basically all entertainment pages, so the 3 out of 10 of their posts will be passing across a message on the importance for us to have a corrupt-free society with right values. Also, the use of hashtags like hashtag say no to corruption, hashtag integrity in all I do, hashtag refuse to be corrupt. When these hashtags begin to trend on social media, and also we can create compulsory ads on YouTube, for example, where the first 5 seconds of the ads are compulsory for the viewers to watch before they get to skip it. And now that Instagram is owned by Facebook, you can target your audience from Facebook, and this ad ranges between $2 to $8, and there are also budgets lower than that. An equivalent of $2 in Naira is just 700 Naira. We buy data worth 2,000, 3,000 Naira, so we can actually afford to do this to make our society a better place.
So let's go to Mr. Peter. What do you think of Ms. Daniel's comment? What's your take on this?
Well, in addition to what my friends have just said, we see social media as a privilege where we can be able to generate content. Such content comes in likes of voices, text, videos. So with that privilege, we can create or co-create information that is targeted at informing our target audience about the menace of corruption in the society, what corruption has taken away from us in the society. By so doing, we keep on reaching out to people that are void of the information about corruption and what it has been doing to the society. I think we as youths, this is an opportunity for us to come out together, bring our hands together, join in this fight, in this clarion call to fight against this menace that has taken away lots of things from our societies, good education, good road, power, and a whole lot of things.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And to the viewers, I hope you've been informed on how youths can use social media to campaign against corruption. We hope to see you again as we bring another exciting topic to you when next we see. Bye for now as Corruption Must Go continues.
It is obvious that Nigerian youths have the zeal and the passion to make a significant impact in the fight against corruption. ICPC on its own part cannot be said to have been found wanting in taking advantage of this all-important segment of the population in its efforts to achieve its mandate of combating corruption. The Commission is therefore urging every youth to do more in holding leaders accountable, to always act with integrity and report all acts of corruption to ICPC. That's our package for this week. Remember, you can make inquiries and suggestions via our toll-free numbers as shown on the screen. You can also watch the program on our YouTube channel www.youtube.com/ICPC Nigeria. See you again next week. Bye for now.